So yesterday, June 6th, was D-Day, the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And I did a video talking about that yesterday. But today, it's being reported, Marjorie Taylor Greene put forward an amendment to a bill that would defund the U.S. portion of NATO. It would stop all funding that we have going for NATO, like $430-some million. And that's a dumb idea on multiple reasons. For one, they always say, let's spend the money on us, don't send it overseas. Well, then when you put measures up to do the things they say we should be spending money on, like supporting Veterans Affairs, fixing the homelessness crisis, things like that, they vote those measures down too. Or they say, well, secure the southern border before sending the money overseas. Then they vote against a border bill. So there's that part of it. But then on top of it, a chunk of that money does get spent here because it's not just a blank check we send to NATO and NATO spends it however they want. That money is a block grant, usually in form of we purchase an amount of weapons and those get distributed, or like the money gets spent and they get reappropriated back into U.S. contractors that make things going to various countries, whatever. So it does still get spent at American factories. So blocking out NATO from a financial standpoint and an economic standpoint doesn't make sense. They don't want to fund anything else that they say we should be funding instead anyway. And then on top of that, you also have the peace aspect of it. 80 years ago, we were in the midst of the Second World War. One of the worst wars ever fought, if not the worst war ever fought, in the world. All of Europe was at one point controlled by one nation. And it was terrifying, it was bloody, it was brutal. But one of the things that has prevented for 80 years, or just about 80 years, that from ever happening again has been NATO. The simple fact that all of the countries got together and agreed that, hey, we're going to defend each other should this ever happen again. And we said, yeah, we're in too. So if something happens, between two of the countries, they have to wonder, is it going to be worth going up against the entire rest of that defense bloc? And one of the things Russia has been very careful to do with their war in Ukraine has been they have not bled into other countries. And as long as NATO stands, they won't. Even if Ukraine were to fall, they would probably have to stop at Ukraine. The thing keeping them from advancing into Poland and other former USSR nations and trying to reform the Soviet Union is NATO. Because if they attack any of them, the rest of NATO, including us, Great Britain, France, automatically go in. Article 5 gets invoked, and we take, it becomes a world war, yes. But it also serves as a good deterrent. So the people on the right that want to get rid of NATO or defund NATO don't know what the hell they're doing. They're very dangerous to the safety and security of not only this country, but to the world. And to bring that up the day after the 80th anniversary of D-Day shows just how short-sighted, ignorant they are, and how they really don't care about keeping the world safe.